Okay, this is Chris Thompson. Welcome to the Mega Talks podcast. The good thing about doing podcasts is on the app I have on my phone, I can just do them anytime that I have some thoughts that I want to put down. I kind of waited a couple of weeks before I recorded this episode. And if you see the title, you know it's about Kobe Bryant. And I wanted to give you guys some thoughts on kind of the whole situation and my thoughts. At the moment right now, I'm moving down the highway and I'm with my son. Of course, you know, he's younger generation, and I think he actually watched more of a Kobe Bryant on the basketball court than I did. So we're gonna have some thoughts and some discussion on it. And I looked up a few stats. You know, Kobe wasn't just one guy that I went to watch, you know, in the NBA. I wasn't a big fan of his. I heard his name. I knew he was a great player, one of the outstanding guys, kind of outspoken, you know, determined, driven, and the same way with his teammates, held him to a certain standard. And since his death, I've seen a lot of talk, a lot of videos coming back about his theories and beliefs and things like that. And you know, just watching some of those videos, I have some of the same thoughts myself. You know, and he started his NBA career in 1996. I'm not sure when he retired. Do you know?
He retired?
Yeah.
He retired last year.
Yeah, he retired last year. And that tells you how much, you know, I track him. But like I said, I know he's born in 1978. So he was a few years younger than me. And my son's here. Isiah, what'd you think about him as a basketball player?
I would think Kobe was a good basketball player. He was a very dedicated basketball player. Like, he's hardworking, and he just liked basketball, and he held his teammates to like a higher standard than most did. Like, he had a teammate, his name is Luke, and he had came to a practice, and he was hungover from drinking, so he told him to guard him throughout the practice, and he ended up having, I think it was 70 plus points on him. And everybody used to say Kobe whenever throwing things away, and I think it just affected different people in different ways. I kind of caught like the end of his career, not really during the time where it was just him and Shaq, and they were just getting titles back to back. But I could see why like it impacted so many people, because he was such a great player, and he was also an Eagles fan, so that's why I like him. Yeah.
So we got a few thoughts there. You know, my son, he's big in the basketball, so I'm more of the martial arts, following that scene closer than I do basketball. Usually I catch like the playoffs and, you know, the championship game if I can. Sometimes it's on the same nights as the NHL playoffs. And over the few years I've been watching the NHL play. But one thing about, you know, it was 2 weeks ago, I was teaching a private lesson. I was with my daughter, and the guy I was teaching, his daughter was there, and he got a text on his phone, and the first thing that he said, it was Kobe Bryant is dead. And when he said that, I actually thought he said Colby, like not even related to Kobe Bryant. I had to ask him who that was when he said it, because it was, you know, I wasn't expecting Kobe Bryant, like the basketball player. I thought it was another athlete somewhere. And he said it to me twice. And, you know, I was just kind of stunned. And learning the situation and reading the news about how it happened, and that his daughter was with him, and you know, I think there's another coach there, and his daughter was there. And when I found out and saw the picture, you know, with him and his daughter, it spoke to me in a way that it's something that, you know, in the back of my mind, I kind of fear, and I think anybody fears it about, with, you know, them and the relationship between their kids. Because I look at it as being, you know, what if I was in that situation? What if it was what if it was my daughter? What if it was my kids? Because I've been in situations before where I didn't think I was gonna come back to see them, to see my kids. But it's different when they're alongside with you, and you have your final moments together. Is the whole situation changes, because when you're next to somebody, you know what their final thought is. You know what they look like the last. You don't have to wonder. If something happens to us, separately, and you don't see it happen, you always have that disbelief, and you're gonna have your last thought of them and your last vision of them is gonna be very different from when you're with them. And I know some people feel different about it. They would rather be with their loved ones when something like that happened. Some people would rather not see it happen. But it teaches you that you can't control things like that. But I'll probably continue to, watch a little bit of the YouTube videos, Kobe, and some of the things that he says, just because I like hearing those types of things. I like people that influence others. I like people that hold people to certain standards. And, my son's sitting here next to me. He knows I hold him to a higher standard than I would the next individual. Or, just my family, my kids. I hold them to higher standards than just the average person. I don't look at them as average people. They're just two chips off the block, though. But just wanted to get those few thoughts out there and, just share how I felt. But I didn't want to do it in the middle of a rush when a lot of people were talking about it. And I think we have to be careful in a situation like this, because you don't want to be, you don't want to be on like the bandwagon of something happening and just talking about it just because it's the popular subject. It's a subject that's opened up, that's good for families and people to talk about with each other and share their thoughts. Because in a situation, you need to learn something from it. Otherwise, he meant more than just, bouncing a basketball. As a family man, had his own family, a lot of other things that he done with his life that we probably weren't a part of. So what we know, we can use it as an experience to share. You have any thoughts on it? Like his death or anything, or how it happened?
I think that everyone should not take everything for granted, because every day that you wake up is a blessing for you. I think it's good that not good that they died, but I think it's good that they were together whenever it happened. I'm sure he wouldn't want his daughter to be with him whenever it happened, but it just so happened. I hope all their families are good. I'm sure his wife just posted something about how they were doing and everybody talking about them, and I bet it's like hard for them. And then everyone else that died, they should also be a part of like what everybody's talking about, not just Kobe and them, because it was multiple people, including the person that was piloting the helicopter. I think just Kobe like affected a lot of people that watch basketball, because he was one of, I say, top 3. He'll always be number 3 to me. I don't care what everybody says. But yeah, I just think it was real shocking. Like, whenever he died, it felt like it was somebody that I knew. It didn't feel like it was just some random person. And it was hard to like believe, because at first it didn't seem like real until everybody on the news was talking about it. And then I think it just affected a lot of people. But I think people should take it more as a message, because not everybody was Kobe fans like they were before it happened. Everybody wasn't talking about Kobe, but now that he died, they feel the need to make like a logo over him and make him the sponsor and whatever. But I think that's just people blowing things like up, or they should have just stayed with what they were. Like, they don't have to make it something if they're not really a Kobe fan. kind of like the bandwagon that you were talking about.
Yeah.
And then I know like people that affected that knew him, like LeBron, and they're changing the All-Star game up to where they're not going to have a fourth quarter and the two teams will wear 24 and 8. But I think LeBron changed the other day that he'll wear number 2 because of Kobe's daughter, Gianna, and because it reminded him of LeBron's daughter, Zuri. But I like that all the teams respected him as a player and everything that happened, and I feel like they handled it well. Yeah, that's all I got to say.
Then it just, in closing, is when people are here, don't take it for granted. Because when they're gone, the only thing you have is the memorial of them. So cherish them while they're here and appreciate everything that we have when we're here. And, don't take anything for granted. But in closing, thanks for tuning in. If you made it this far, I appreciate it very much. And don't hesitate to like, share, subscribe, all that stuff, and check out my previous podcast on here. You never know, I may just do something off the cuff like this. I probably need to do it every week, but this is what you get today. And I'll catch you guys next time on the Mega Talks podcast.